Auguste 9, 1943 above Le Havre, France. The air is thin at 27,000 feet. Frost creeps across the cockpit glass as Lieutenant Jack Ilfrey of the 20th Fighter Group squints into the glare of the rising Sunday. His plane, a Lockheed P-38 Lightning, hums with the deep, even rhythm of its twin Allison V1000, 710 engines, two snarling hearts pushing silver wings through the cold morning air. Below him, the English Channel glitters. Ahead, enemy territory. Radio chatter crackles in his headset. Eagle 1 to all flight, bogies 12 o'clock high, 3,000 feet above. Ilfrey tightens his grip on the control column. Through the canopy, dots appear black against the gold horizon. Messerschmitt Bf 109 seconds. The Germans dive fast, sunlight flashing off their wings. The Lightning pilots brace. This is the P-38's baptism over the continent. Inside one of those 109 seconds, Oberleutnant Heinz Schulte sneers. From his perspective, the American fighter looks awkward, twin booms, bulky fuselage, long nose. Ein fliegender Gabelschwanzteufel. He mutters, a flying fork-tailed devil. He laughs. Too big, too heavy, we'll eat them alive. But as the 109 seconds dive, something happens that none of them expect. Ilfrey doesn't evade. He climbs. The twin engines roar, the turbo superchargers kicking in with a banshee scream. The Lightning surges upward in a steep climb no single-engine fighter could match. The German formation overshoots. Ilfrey rolls inverted and dives, the air howling around the cockpit, his gun sight locking on a Messerschmitt below. 4. 50 caliber machine guns and one 20mm cannon unleash a line of fire, a solid white arc of tracers. The 109 explodes into flame, spiraling toward the sea. The German pilots scatter in confusion. Their radios fill with panic. The twin-engined American fighter they thought was slow, just outclimbed and outdived them. Ilfrey's wingman, Lieutenant Bill Odom, laughs through the comms. Guess the fork. Tailed devil's got a bite after all. By the time the surviving Messerschmitts retreat, 4 are burning in the Channel. None of the P-38 seconds are lost. That night, back at base in King's Cliff, England, the ground crews gather around the silver twin-boomed machines, their fuselages streaked with cordite. Ilfrey leans against his wing, exhausted but smiling. They thought she was slow, he mutters. Let 'em keep thinking that. Across the Channel, the Luftwaffe's intelligence office files its first report on the new American aircraft. Twin-engined fighter, highly maneuverable, heavy firepower, capable of unusual climb and dive performance. Extreme caution advised. The Germans will learn too late that what looked like an ungainly machine was, in truth, a predator built for the kill. September 1943 Juvincourt Airfield, occupied France. A light rain taps against the corrugated metal of a Luftwaffe hangar. Inside, a group of German fighter pilots huddle over coffee mugs and cigarette smoke. On the table before them sits a black and white reconnaissance photo, a P-38 Lightning, captured in grainy detail. Oberleutnant Heinz Schulte, still nursing the bruised ego from Le Havre, jabs the image with a finger. Amerikanische Technik, always overbuilt. 2 engines, 2 tails twice as likely to break. The others laugh. The Lightning to them looks ungainly, a flying anachronism. Their Messerschmitt Bf 109Gs and Focke-Wulf 190, as are lean, agile, deadly. The P-38 seems like a lumbering curiosity, too big for a fighter, too small for a bomber. But the older ace at the table, Hauptmann Erich Hartmann, doesn't laugh. He narrows his eyes. The Americans don't build toys, he says quietly. If it flies that high and that fast, there's a reason. They shrug him off. The younger pilots still believe in the myth of Luftwaffe superiority. For years, they've dominated the skies over Poland, over France, over Russia. Now, in late 1943, they still think themselves invincible. But reports from the Western Front are beginning to disturb that certainty. Messerschmitt squadrons are returning from intercepts shaken and disoriented. Pilots describe the new twin-tailed fighter as appearing from nowhere, climbing into the sun, diving out of reach. Its twin engines make it almost impossible to disable in a single hit. Even crippled, the damned thing refuses to die. One after-action report describes a Lightning that continued flying after losing half a wing, and one engine the pilot limping 200 miles back across the channel. German engineers studying wrecks taken from crash sites can't believe what they see. Redundant hydraulics, dual oil systems, and bulletproof Allison engines. Every inch of the P-38 is designed for survival. Meanwhile, at RAF King's Cliff, Lieutenant Jack Ilfrey and his squadron are flying daily escort missions over France. Their job: protect bombers bound for industrial targets deep inside German territory. The Luftwaffe knows it, and comes for them every time. In the high-altitude cold above the clouds, the mockery of the Lightning begins to fade. The German aces find themselves chasing a ghost. The P-38's turbo superchargers let it soar higher than the Messerschmitts without losing power. When the Germans stall, the Americans keep climbing. Over time, the radio calls from Luftwaffe intercept units' change tone. Achtung! Zweimotoriger Jäger! Hohe Geschwindigkeit! Nicht unterschätzen! Warning! Twin-engined fighter! High speed! Do not underestimate! The myth dies, quietly replaced by caution. By the end of the month, German intelligence reclassifies the P-38 as a high-threat escort. Its profile, once ridiculed, now appears on every pilot's recognition card. And yet, they still don't understand its true advantage. Not the guns, not the range, not even the speed, but the second engine. The feature they mocked most is what will haunt them next. Because when a Lightning pilot takes a hit, he doesn't fall. He turns. He fights back. Oktober 1943, 25, 000 feet above Bremen, Germany. The sky is burning silver. Contrails twist like white scars across the blue as American bombers B-17 seconds and B-24 seconds lumber toward their targets. Around them, the escort fighters weave and roll. P-47 Thunderbolts, Spitfires, and a handful of P-38 Lightnings. Lieutenant Jack Ilfrey leads his element through thin, icy air. His oxygen mask hisses with each breath. Below, the bombers are under siege, the black smoke of exploding flak blossoms all around. Eagle 1 to all flight, keep eyes sharp. Bandits inbound from 2 o'clock. From the east, 30 German fighters tear through the Sunday Messerschmitt 109 seconds and Focke-Wulf 190 seconds dive in formation, engines screaming. The Luftwaffe is coming to kill the bombers, and the Lightning pilots are all that stand in their way. Ilfrey pushes his throttles forward. The twin Allisons respond instantly, a thunderous vibration coursing through the cockpit. He can feel the torque, the raw, synchronized power. No single-engine fighter he's flown, not even the P-39, could match this. The Germans open fire first. Tracers streak past his canopy like molten hail. He banks hard, left too sharp for a plane his size. The enemy thinks, but the P-38's counter-rotating propellers cancel the torque roll. The Lightning doesn't flip. It slices clean through the turn. Behind him, a 190 lines up a shot hits the left engine. Smoke, flames. For a second, Ilfrey feels the surge of panic every pilot dreads. Then he remembers, 2 engines, 2 chances. He feathers the damaged prop, cuts fuel flow, and keeps flying. The right engine howls, but it's enough. He flips the plane into a dive, rolling over the top of the formation. The Luftwaffe pilot behind him overshoots. Confused, no Allied fighter should be able to maneuver like that on one engine. Ilfrey pulls the trigger. The Lightning's 4 50 caliber Brownings and 120mm cannon unleash a torrent of fire. The German plane disintegrates mid-air. Moments later, he throttles down the remaining engine, checks his instruments, and turns west, limping home. The Lightning holds steady at 250 miles per hour on a single Allison, flying smoother than some twin-engine bombers. Back at Juvincourt, the German survivors land, shaken. One pilot slams his goggles on the ground. Verdammt! They don't fall when you hit them. You shoot one, and it keeps flying like a damn ghost. In Berlin, Luftwaffe analysts begin compiling reports on the new American twin-boom fighter. They note the evidence grimly. Can continue flight and combat on one engine. Climb performance superior at high altitude. Heavy armament effective at long range. Excellent roll control due to counter-rotating props. They give it a name, der Gabelschwanzteufel, the fork-tailed devil. What began as mockery is now myth, whispered with respect and fear across Luftwaffe airfields. The P-38 isn't just another American plane. It's a symbol of resilience, an aircraft that refuses to die, built for the kind of sky where survival itself is a weapon. January 1944, Central Germany, near Magdeburg. The air is iron cold, the horizon a bruised line of grey. Inside a Luftwaffe command post, maps cover the wall's red strings tracing Allied bomber routes across Germany. At the centre of the room, Oberst Adolf Galland, inspector of fighters, studies the latest reports. The pattern is unmistakable. More bomber raids are returning with fewer losses. The reason, scrawled in the margins of every intelligence summary, is the same P-38 escorts. The German pilots call it der Gabelschwanzteufel, the fork-tailed devil. At the same time, 20,000 feet above that same cold landscape, the Lightning squadrons of the US 55th Fighter Group are fighting for their lives. Lieutenant Jack Ilfrey and his fellow pilots now fly missions that stretch all the way to the heart of Germany, range that no other Allied fighter can match. On this day, the bomber stream bound for Oschersleben is under savage attack. Dozens of Fy-192s tear through the formation like wolves. The P-38 seconds dive to intercept, engines howling, vapor trails arcing through the sky. German ace Ernst Gudluckner spots one of them below and sneers. "Too big, too slow," he mutters and dives. The 190's engine roars as he lines up his guns, but the Lightning below suddenly rolls onto its side, banking impossibly tight, both engines screaming in unison. The German overshoots. The P-38 pilot, Captain Bob Petit, pulls the trigger. 5 guns roar at once, a single stream of converging fire hammering the Luftwaffe ace's plane. Gudluckner's canopy explodes. His aircraft vanishes in a cloud of smoke and fire. From that day forward, his squadron stops underestimating the twin-boom fighter. Back on the ground, Luftwaffe mechanics study captured fragments of wrecked P-38 seconds. They find armor plating thicker than expected, engine mounts reinforced to withstand battle damage, and a complex web of backup systems. If one engine dies, one engineer says in disbelief, the other takes over automatically. The P-38 is no brute force machine. It's a masterpiece of engineering, precision-balanced, redundant, methodical, every inch of it designed to keep its pilot alive. But its psychological impact may be its greatest weapon. By early 1944, Luftwaffe intercept pilots begin reporting a new kind of fear. They come from above, one survivor writes. They dive at impossible speed, and even if you hit one, it climbs away smoking. The Germans start to alter their tactics, avoid engaging twin-boom fighters unless in numbers or surprise. That's how much the myth has shifted. The hunter has become the hunted. Meanwhile, the Americans are refining how they use their creation. Lightning squadrons are trained not to dogfight but to dictate. High-speed slashing attacks, coordinated in pairs, exploiting altitude, energy, and that unmatched endurance. On one sortie, P-38 seconds fly 8 hours round trip, escorting bombers all the way from England to Berlin, and back a feat no single-engine fighter on Earth could match. That night, at Luftwaffe headquarters, Galland's tone is grim. "This aircraft," he admits to his officers, "has changed the air war. It is not beautiful, but it is effective. We will have to kill it before it kills us." But killing it is easier said than done, because as every German ace would soon learn, you could destroy a P-38's wings, tear through its fuselage, even set one engine ablaze, and it would still come home. March 24th, 1944, northern Italy, 28,000 feet over the Po Valley. The air is razor-thin and biting cold. Below, the Alps stretch like broken teeth, their white peaks cutting into the horizon. The bombers B-24 Liberators thunder eastward toward their target at Steyr, escorted by the P-38 Lightnings of the 82nd Fighter Group. Captain Robert Bob Petit leads his flight in a slow, weaving pattern above the formation. The lightnings glint silver in the morning sun, twin tails catching the light like mirrors. Suddenly, the radio crackles to life. Bandits! 11 o'clock high, 20 plus. High above them, sleek shapes dive from the sun. Messerschmitt Bf 109 Gs, painted in mottled green-grey, closing fast. Among them is Hauptmann Friedrich Müller, one of the Luftwaffe's most seasoned aces. He's fought everything the Allies have: Spitfires, Mustangs, Thunderbolts. But today, it's the American twin-boomed monster. He's heard the stories. He doesn't believe them. Zu gross, he says to himself. Too big to dance. The Messerschmitts dive. The air fills with the scream of engines and the metallic howl of the wind. Petit's voice cuts through the chaos. Blue flight, break right. Don't climb, make 'em overshoot. The lightnings roll apart with mechanical precision. Their counter-rotating props keep them steady as they dive into the Sunday. The German formation splits, some follow. Others circle for position. Müller picks one lightning and locks in. He fires a burst. Tracers flash across the sky, ripping into the American fighter's left boom. Smoke billows, but the plane doesn't fall. Instead, it levels out, running on one engine, and loops back toward him. "What the?" Müller curses, jerking his stick. But the P-38 is already behind him. Its nose guns 4.50 calibers and 120mm cannon mounted dead center. Don't need convergence. They fire straight ahead, tight, lethal. The burst hits home. Müller's canopy explodes. His Messerschmitt spirals into the mountains, trailing black smoke. Above him, Petit watches the explosion, then pulls his formation back into escort position. "One engine down," he reports calmly. "But she flies fine." Returning with formation, the bombers roar past overhead, dropping their payloads in perfect formation. Below, fires bloom across the factory complex. By mission's end, the P-38 seconds claim 9 confirmed kills for no losses. That night, in a Luftwaffe debriefing outside Verona, the surviving German pilots speak in uneasy tones. One says he saw a lightning take a cannon shell through the fuselage and keep flying. Another swears the Americans are using some kind of armored plane. But the engineers shake their heads. No armor can explain it, only engineering genius. The Lightning's twin engines, separated by booms, its central nacelle protecting vital systems, its redundant controls, every part of it built to fight physics itself. From that day forward, the Luftwaffe issues new orders. Do not attack the twin-boomed fighter head-on. Engage only in groups. Avoid long dives. The American plane is superior in descent. Even the German aces are adapting and admitting defeat in silence. High over the Alps, the skies that once belonged to the Luftwaffe now hum with the sound of twin Allisons, a song of power, balance, and American defiance. The P-38 has proved its worth. The Germans no longer laugh. Now, they flinch when they see its silhouette. April 18th, 1944, 30,000 feet above Berlin, Germany. The city below is a black sea of smoke. Columns of flak rise into the clouds like steel trees. B-17 flying fortresses stagger through the explosions, formation torn but still moving. For the first time, American bombers are striking directly at the German capital, and the Luftwaffe has thrown everything it has into the sky to stop them. But this time the bombers aren't alone. From the west, a formation of P-38 Lightnings slices through the contrails, glinting silver against the grey. Their mission: to escort the bombers all the way in and out, a task no other Allied fighter can yet achieve. In the lead cockpit, Major Jack Ilfrey checks his gauges. The long-range fuel tanks are nearly dry, but the twin Allisons still roar, smooth and strong. He can feel every vibration through the seat, the pulse of a machine built for endurance. "Eagle flight, tighten up," he calls over the radio. "We're over Berlin, let's make this count." Below, the Luftwaffe scrambles. Dozens of Foix 190 seconds rise from Tempelhof and Vernierchen, climbing like hornets. In one cockpit, Oberleutnant Otto Weissmann, an ace with 50 kills, grits his teeth. He's heard the rumors, the twin-boomed devils that climb like rockets and dive like stones, but he refuses to believe them. All lightning escort attack from above, split their formation. The German fighters surge upward. The P-38 seconds meet them head-on. Ilfrey's wingman yells, "They're coming straight at us." "Good," Ilfrey replies. "So are we." At closing speeds of nearly 700 miles per hour, the two formations meet in a chaos of tracers and vapor trails. The air is filled with the shriek of engines, the stutter of guns, and the flash of exploding fuel. Ilfrey rolls his lightning inverted, diving straight through the center of the German formation. His twin engines scream in harmony, the turbo superchargers whistling like banshees. He squeezes the trigger a long burst, and an FW-190 bursts apart, trailing fire through the clouds. Another German dives onto his tail. Ilfrey yanks the throttles wide open. The lightning surges forward with brutal acceleration. The enemy can't keep up. A moment later, Ilfrey rolls up and to the right, firing a short burst that sends the 190 spinning away. Across the sky, it's the same story everywhere. The Germans try to pin the lightnings down. They fail. The P-38 seconds climb higher, dive faster, turn wider, then hit back harder. And when they do take hits, they don't fall. Damaged lightnings limp away, one engine feathered, still climbing westward. Below, German radio chatter grows frantic. Zweimotorige Jäger überall. Sie kommen wieder. Twin-engine fighters everywhere. They're coming again. By the time the bombers drop their payloads and turn for home, the Luftwaffe has lost 17 aircraft. The Americans too. That night, Berlin's defenses record a chilling note in their logbooks. Enemy twin-engined fighter demonstrated superior range, stability, and firepower, capable of escorting bombers to the capital. Recommend all future operations adjust accordingly. The message spreads through German air bases like wildfire. Even among aces, morale cracks. The Luftwaffe's old advantage fighting above and beyond the bomber's reach is gone. From that day on, every time a German pilot looks east and sees a glint of twin silver tails in the sun, he knows the Americans can reach him anywhere. And he knows that if he dives to meet them, one mistake is all it takes. Because the P-38 isn't just fast. It's patient. It's balanced. It's built to endure. The era of German air superiority is dying one twin-engine shadow at a time. May 1944 Western Germany, near Frankfurt. The morning sun burns through thin fog as hundreds of contrails etch white scars across the blue. It's another massive bomber stream, an endless line of B-17 seconds and B-24 seconds pushing toward industrial heartlands that once seemed untouchable. But now, at their side, the P-38 Lightnings prowl like wolves on a leash. From his cockpit, Captain Robert Bob Petite can see the entire formation's silver specks glinting across 50 miles of sky. He speaks into the radio. "Stay loose, boys. They'll come for the bombers, not us. Let 'em try." Below, Luftwaffe radar picks up the formation. Within minutes, dozens of Messerschmitts scramble from airfields around Frankfurt. They climb desperately, their fuel tanks half full, engines coughing from shortage of high-octane fuel. Germany's air force is bleeding short on pilots, short on fuel, short on time. But pride still drives them upward. One German, Lieutenant Karl Hoffmann, a veteran of the Eastern Front, spots the P-38 seconds glinting ahead. "Twin tails," he growls into his mask. "I'll take the left one." He dives. His guns chatter and a burst of rounds tears through Petite's right wing. Warning lights flash across the panel. The right engine sputters, catches fire, then dies. The plane lurches violently. Any other fighter would be done. But Petite doesn't panic. He feathers the propeller, cuts the fuel, and steadies the stick. The left engine holds firm. The Lightning's balance returns as if nothing happened. He flips onto his back, dives hard, then pulls up behind Hoffmann's 109. The German pilot can't believe it. The American he just hit is alive, still climbing, still aiming. Petit squeezes the trigger. A single, perfect burst. The 109 shatters. "Scratch one," he mutters, breathing hard. The Lightning climbs again on one engine back to the formation. Later that day, as the surviving Germans land at their shattered airfields, the same phrase echoes across mess halls and maintenance bays. They can fly on one motor. They turn faster than they should. It's not a fighter, it's a machine from another world. The psychological weight is breaking them. What began as ridicule, too heavy, too strange, has become dread. Every encounter now costs them fuel, planes, men, morale. At Allied bases in England and Italy, crews are painting twin lightning bolts on their fuselages, the symbol of a new kind of air warfare. The P-38 has proven itself not just as a fighter, but as a strategic weapon, a long-range escort, a dive bomber, a recon platform, even a precision killer of enemy leaders. General Jimmy Doolittle himself writes in a dispatch, "The Lightning's range and survivability are rewriting our doctrine. It can go where no fighter has gone and come back." By summer, the Luftwaffe's once untouchable heartland lies exposed. Refineries, rail lines, and aircraft factories burn daily. The German aces who remain in the air can't fight the inevitable. They can only delay it. At twilight, Petit and his men return from another mission. The airfield hums with the sound of cooling engines. Mechanics wipe oil from their hands. A younger pilot, eyes wide, points to Petit's Lightning, one engine blackened, the other still ticking. "Sir," he says, "how the hell did you make it back?" Petit grins, sliding off the wing. "With one good heart," he answers, patting the cowling. "That's all she needs." Above the quiet field, the sun dips below the clouds. Two contrails, thin, parallel, unbroken, fade slowly into the golden light. August 1944, southern Germany, near Munich. The summer air ripples with heat, the sky alive with the thunder of engines. The war in the air has shifted entirely. The once dominant Luftwaffe is now fighting for survival. Each morning, the wail of air raid sirens rolls through German cities as American bombers appear over the horizon, and with them, the unmistakable shape of the fork-tailed devil. At an airfield outside Munich, surviving pilots of Jägerschwader 26 gather around a fuel truck, silent. Their commander, Hauptmann Kurt Bremer, studies reconnaissance photos of the day's losses. Entire squadrons are gone, not to the bombers but to the escorts. To the Lightnings. "They were above us before we even climbed," one pilot mutters. "And when you hit one," another adds, "it keeps flying, always flying." Bremer lights a cigarette, exhaling through his teeth. "It's not a plane," he says quietly. "It's an idea. 2 engines, 2 lives, and they don't die easy." Meanwhile, across the channel at RAF Halesworth, Major Jack Ilfrey reads the latest mission orders. Operation Dragoon, the invasion of southern France, is underway. The Lightnings will lead the strikes against German convoys fleeing north. He glances out across the runway, row after row of gleaming silver aircraft, each with its twin booms and shark-nosed cannon ports. He thinks of how it began, the mockery, the doubt, the mechanical failures in North Africa, the learning curve that nearly broke them. Yet here they are now, the most feared escort in Europe. The engines start up a rising, synchronized roar that shakes the tarmac. 200 Lightnings lift into the afternoon sky, climbing toward the Alps. Over the next hours, the twin-engine fighters sweep across the valleys, strafing rail lines, convoys, and fleeing columns of trucks. German anti-aircraft crews barely have time to react before the P-38 seconds are gone, diving at 400 miles an hour, then climbing again with effortless grace. By nightfall, entire rail networks lie shattered. The Luftwaffe's remaining fighters, too few and too fuel-starved to intercept, can only watch helplessly from the ground. In his final report before retreating, one German colonel writes a single line: "The Americans' twin-engined fighter has taken the sky from us." Oh. Weeks later, as Allied forces cross the Seine and push toward Paris, a captured Luftwaffe ace is interviewed by an American intelligence officer. "Which plane did you fear most?" the officer asks. The pilot pauses. The one with two tails, he answers softly, because when you saw it, you knew it wasn't alone. The P-38 Lightning will go on to serve in every theatre from the Pacific jungles to the frozen skies over Germany, claiming more enemy aircraft than any other US twin-engine fighter. And long after the war ends, veterans from both sides will remember the same silhouette. Twin tails, silver wings, and that unearthly scream of turbo, superchargers tearing through thin air. It was the sound of a new kind of warfare, a machine that proved that speed, balance, and survival could live together in one design. The Germans called it the fork-tailed devil. History would remember it as the lightning, the fighter that made arrogance fall from the sky.